Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on July 27th, 2022. I love it when, like last week, it was the 20th, and you add 7 and it turns into the 7 because that's easy for me to understand. Otherwise, arithmetic confuses me. I'm telling you something about myself very honestly. Arithmetic confuses me. It's never been my strength. Boy, do we have a lineup already? Ivan is eating in the park or something, but he's here. Iwan Gulenko. I'll do the ad for his famous applicant tracking system, Clang.so, a little later in the show. We've got the famous Richie Rosen. You missed it. I quoted last week about this woman who allegedly wrote in and said, recruiting animal. I just want you to know, since I have listened to the show, I do what you do. When I have a problem, I say, what would Richie Rosen do? And I can hear him talking in my head, okay? Because I can remember the stuff he says during the show, and it's great. Okay, so there you go. You got a compliment right off the bat. CornerstoneSearch.com. Mario the Recruiter, the famous, who got put into LinkedIn jail. Got to ask him about that.
No. Oh my God! Don't
he's
ask
in LinkedIn
me
jail, or maybe he's got out, and he'll tell us how he managed that.
Not yet. They're asking for my documents. I sent them over. The problem is people don't have common sense.
Passport and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it makes me want to curse.
I curse them in every language I know, and which is only one language.
Is it me? I can't really hear you. Can you? Everybody hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah.
It's me. Oh, well. Okay. And now a guy who said he's coming many times finally shows up, the prolific, in case you don't know that word. He means that he writes a lot. He posts every day about recruiting. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that the famous Super Rich Rosen said, when that guy comes on the show, I'm going to take a piece out of him. Okay. No, he'll deny it. But that might be a hallucination.
Because that's not what I said.
That might be a hallucination.
Gloves, yeah.
That might be a hallucination that I'm coming up with. Gavin Johnston is a recruiter in England, if I'm not mistaken, who has his own very unique approach. I'll just summarize it right now. He works a very narrow niche, and he personally introduces himself to every worker in that niche. He surveys the niche, stop me if I'm wrong, and finds out every single person, introduces himself, and then he sucks the life no.
And then I place them.
He becomes their pals, right? And he turns them into snitches. Or as my friend used to say, songbirds. And they tell him stuff, and he picks up business just from the chit-chat they have. And yes, as he just said, he places them as well. And he's very, according to him, very successful. He's very different, but on a similar plane, it seems, to Super Rich. And what's your, if he's also a recruiting trainer. So what's your URL if someone wants to come in and see you, Gavin, even before we get going?
Everythingaboutrrecruitment.com.
Everythingaboutrrecruitment.com. Now I have to compliment you on that. That is long, but it's so easy to remember. If you go to a party and say, oh, what do you do? Go to everythingrecruitment.com and you'll see it. Maybe I'll take out everythingrecruiting.com. You got to get that covered. Okay. That's
Everythingaboutrrecruitment.com is the initials EAR, ear, because you need to listen more than you talk when you're a good recruiter.
Yeah, I don't believe that. You know, that's the saying, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I hate it. Okay. I would to, or I wanted to say, I want to kill the person who said that. But if you say something violent these days, they'll think I'm a murderer. Okay.
By the way,
I'm going to kill that guy.
An important thing. You might have seen last week a nice flag. It wasn't the British flag. I'm in Belgium.
Yeah. I almost deleted it, but I left it up because you're a regular. You're a regular.
I thought you were going to make a comment,
Belgium or something. So he wrote a long post on Belgium. It was gold, black, and red. I thought it was Germany. Okay. And my response, okay, let's move on. I'm already boring Mario and Rich and maybe even Ivan. So let's see, before we get to Gavin, then I'll got some warm-ups. Okay. What about this? The candidate wants to take his dog to an interview. Everybody knows that these offices now where people take their dogs. Okay. Rich, I want to hear what you have to say.
What's up with it taking dogs to
The
offices?
candidate wants to take his dog to the interview. He takes him everywhere. Not only
no.
that, if he
No.
has to travel, he takes a dog with him and the company pays.
That's
What
a
do you
problem.
say?
I would say thanks, but no. I
What?
mean, again, I do sales guys, so sales guys wouldn't do that stupidity. Engineers, maybe they're a little quirky, they'll do it, but no. No, it's an interview, dude. You got to grow up.
Mario?
I wonder if he takes it on his honeymoon also.
What?
I wonder if he takes the dog on his honeymoon too.
That's a good
Freaking
question.
craziness, man. Come on, people are mad.
We know it's a trend. It's a trend. There's lots of offices with dogs in them. Is
So
anyone going to fight with me on that or deny it?
I'm gonna fight with you on the trend part just because
There's a lot of
something is a
trends.
trend. Yeah, doesn't really follow. You want to walk around without pants? That's going to become the next trend. Like it's already been followed by some people.
Let's ask Gavin. Let's ask a new guy. You got a candidate, a good candidate. He wants to take his dog to the interview. What do you say?
No way.
No way. Something's
Yeah,
wrong.
it's
I have to do
absolutely
some
crazy.
lip reading here.
You've got to make sure you do not have any single little thing that's going to detract from yourself.
Wait, why not just bring your little kids and have them bouncing on your lap while you're interviewing?
That reminds me of something. What about this guy? I listened to their podcast. He does it with his wife. They have a little kid and she runs everything. She breastfeeds on their podcast. Okay.
Well, that's
what if somebody
that's different. That's a whole different camera, my friend.
Well, what if somebody wanted to take their kid to the interview, their baby?
Why would you hire that person? Why would you even waste your time? What are you going to do?
Maybe
Hey,
you're going to get sued if you rule them out.
No, you won't. You can just say they're not qualified. They can't put the time and the effort in. They don't have the grit. They don't have the tenacity.
Yeah, sure.
No.
Hold on. What about that woman who ran Yahoo? She had a nursery in her office.
Yeah, but did she go to the interview?
Marissa. Marissa was her first name.
Yeah, she ran Yahoo into the
You gotta treat animal like you're like 90-year-old grandfather. He can't hear so well.
I'm gonna change my my mic. I don't know what's wrong. Worked great last week. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll give you another topic and then I'll go to something else.
Animal, one small point. You're talking about Yahoo as though Marissa did something good for Yahoo.
Yeah, forget about Yahoo. Why don't you tell us the
and where is
story?
Yahoo? And where is Yahoo today?
It's
They're still in
underground.
business. They're still in business.
come
She
on.
couldn't do anything. Hold on. She got a lot of publicity, but it was a losing cause. Everybody knew it, okay?
Yeah.
But they made it like she was the Messiah, okay? And she wasn't.
Because everyone.
Okay, well, I changed my headset. While I
Yahoo
changed
went-
my
No,
headset.
I've got a good line. Yahoo went woke and went broke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You tell us, Mario. You tell us your sad story about
My
LinkedIn.
sad story. Okay, what
Yeah, and
happened
Rich
was.
and Gavin can ask you questions while I
Jesus
change
Christ.
Well, I'm going to change
It
my
was a
headset. Give me a
see.
break, okay?
Oh, sure. There he's gone. Nice T-shirt, by the way.
Okay. Tell us about what happened.
All right. What happened was one of my guys accidentally logged into my LinkedIn account while I was logged in another location. Okay.
Okay, look, you can't talk unless I'm looking at you.
Yeah. I have
I'll
that
ask somebody
problem.
else. Save that for a minute. Gavin, I bet you've got something to talk about. Go ahead, shoot. What do you want to talk about? Belgium? No.
Belgium? No, I think it's too small a country. You guys are too far, except for Ivan. Ivan's not far away.
Okay,
But,
Rich, do you have something you want to ask Gavin?
What do I want to ask Gavin?
I don't know. I need 2 minutes to myself. Can't you guys run the show for a minute?
Are we getting paid to run
You
the
pay
show?
peanuts. You paying peanuts, you get monkeys, my friend.
Okay, I'll ask. Let me ask another question. I'll get somebody warmed up.
All right.
Okay.
I'm trying to fix the interview here. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm working.
Okay. Okay. But here's some. Let me see. Does anybody have a favorite keyboard size? I'm trying to give you a question that you can handle on your own
Full
without me.
size. Full size. Full size.
Oh my God.
Full
Full
size. I
size,
like
I-
full size too, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of varieties.
Hey,
Gavin,
Rich, I
what do
think
you
your
want to talk about? You're the
recommendation,
new
okay,
guy.
I
I
dropped
got
the
a
game
feeling
keyboard.
that I just have to press the right button.
No, well, Gavin's a
And
fighter. I see what he posts. So like, Gavin, what do you got going on? What's the topic du jour, my friend?
Who are you talking to?
Gavin. Gavin's
one of
like
the-
Go ahead.
it's
talk
something
to him
that
for
you
a
love,
second.
Rich.
Good. Talk
It's
to him for a
something that
second while I
you-
change my headset.
It's something you love, Rich. It's about picking up that phone.
I love it. What do we got?
Well, I'm on episode, I think 5 today. I don't know if you've been seeing them about what tricks and tips and all that are to pick up the phone. Cold calling candidates, not cold calling clients, because I don't like doing that, but I still explain how to do it. And so my main problem has been keeping the limit of LinkedIn and how many characters you can put in my post. So I keep on deleting loads of things, but there's loads to be said on the topic.
Didn't they extend the amount of characters you can put in LinkedIn now? I thought they actually did something nice for a change.
Yeah, for a change, exactly. Yeah. But it's still not enough. It's still not enough. The problem is, if you write an article, nobody sees it.
Yeah, but you got to put video in it.
Automation
Problem.
Yeah.
You know, all their algorithms are ridiculous. I mean, when they think they're Google, they change them daily to confuse everyone.
Okay, I can hear you now.
What
are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Doing video, but that's the next step.
Yeah, I mean, as a side note, I mean, I think LinkedIn is becoming too much Facebook too. It's like people put I mean, I got a friend who does it all the time. He puts like all his personal shit on LinkedIn, and I'm just like, dude, I don't really care about your great margarita in your backyard. If I'll go to Facebook if I want to see that. That drives me nuts.
I agree with you. But then I was talking to a number of like gurus, and they said 2 things. First of all, they said people buy from people. And so Absolutely. If you do not post things about yourself, then they're not going to know who you are. And then the second thing I wanted to say, funnily enough, is this person, I looked at their last like 20 posts, and the one with the highest amount of likes and reaction and everything was that person in a shop showing the new jacket they bought. And I thought, what? If that's how they're teaching us how to be on LinkedIn,
I gotta tell you,
loads of reactions.
If it's one of animals like bunnies that he likes to have online, it's one thing. But I don't know. Those posts are like, if it's
Craig Fisher posts pictures of his dog. He said like Gavin just said, they want you to feel comfortable with them as a person.
It's one thing with the dog if it has something to do with your article, you can fit it in there. It's one thing, but it's a picture of this, but here's actually information about like work and business. I mean, I'll post like I got a rental house. I'll post it on LinkedIn every so often if someone wants to rent it out on there. To me, that's business. Maybe it's personal too to others. I don't know, but I don't post a picture of my backyard and say, hey, or like a vacation I just took or something. I'm like, there's a time and a place for it.
Mario's got something to say.
What happens is when you mix professionalism with a personal thing, it leads to a disaster. Okay, I see so many stupid posts and I'm like, God, how come they're on LinkedIn? And Gavin, there's one thing
wait a second. I'm not going to let you get away with that. No. You listen to me. It leads to a disaster. Prove it. What's your evidence?
What did Rich say? Do you think you want to see people with the margaritas in the background on LinkedIn?
Obviously, Gavin just said they look at my new coat and they love the guy. Okay, he gets all kinds of likes.
Wait. Hang on. The activity on that post, was it positive or was it negative? Just because there was activity doesn't mean it was positive.
Did it return an ROI on that post? There's no ROI on a jacket. You can probably, if you're selling jackets, it makes sense. You may launch some revenue there, but you're not selling jackets. Gavin, one more thing. I actually listened to a sales podcast by Benjamin Dennehy. He's the UK's most hated sales trainer. Okay, and he said that one thing: people don't buy because of other people. If that was the case, we will all be making minimum wage. Okay, so I mean, I have seen that mostly people buy.
That I disagree with because one of the things that typically happens is people like to be reassured. And in some countries, it's much stronger than that. And that's why having a referral is always the best way to go and do business, because they want to hear that other people have been there, have done that, have put themselves on the forefront of the situation and tried it out. And yes, it's worked. Then I can. Because, we live in the SIA society since the previous big crisis, the cover your ass society. And people don't like taking risks anymore. And so if they can be reassured, they're going to do that. And who's the best person to reassure? Somebody they know or somebody who's known out there?
Agreed. Okay, so let's say if you're going to approach a person who doesn't know you, what is the best approach? Getting a referral through someone you know? So if you're not totally connected to the person or you don't know the person at all, like for example, a totally cold call, what would be the best approach?
let's
In your
imagine,
opinion, I would like to know this.
let's imagine that I don't know Rich, but I know you, right? And Rich is trying to sell to me a candidate, yeah? And I go, well, this guy Rich has got this candidate, but maybe the candidate's good, but who's Rich to have done the first evaluation? Whereas if I go to you and I know you and you present that same candidate, well, then you're going to say to me, hey, but take this candidate, have a look and interview them. I'm not even going to ask questions. I'm just going to go, yeah, okay, there's a slot.
100%.
So how do you bypass that then? That's the next question.
How do you get there? By putting pictures of you buying jackets on LinkedIn. That's what
Well,
lots of people
it works. Exactly. That's it.
But we know Joe Mullings, and Joe Mullings does what Rich just said. He posts stuff about his niche, which is surgical robotics, I think, right?
Yeah.
And he
markets his expertise in that space.
Yeah.
I can imagine 9 out of 10 people that see it, they care about that. They don't care about, his trip to, wherever. He posts his private plane that he rents and all the, glitzy stuff. That stuff gets attention. I mean, it's all part of the business though. But posting.
Okay, but you know what? We can just, you're just talking like guessing.
Proof.
You're guessing, you're guessing. We don't really know how much these people posting pictures of their picnics and their clothing that they just bought.
Yeah.
We don't know the effect. We're just guessing that, something a professional is more relevant and is going to hook somebody in. Sorry, Mario, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's social proof. The private jet stuff and all, that's total social proof.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you say.
Let's welcome Ernie, foodindustryrecruiter.com. This is Gavin Johnston, who you might have seen on Facebook. Okay, Gavin, what's your famous? Oh yeah, I asked him about everything about recruitment.com, right? Did I remember it? See, that's a great, people are so dumb, they don't make URLs, domain names that you can remember. That's a good thing for him, okay? And Mario, the recruiter.com is so easy to remember. I'm so glad he thought of it, just like foodindustryrecruiter.com. A genius came up with that stuff. Okay, does anybody have, I find this, content marketing stuff is important. It's an important issue. But does anybody have anything more valuable to say? Like Rich has got a very strong belief that posting about professional stuff is the only worthwhile way to go.
On LinkedIn, you can have personality in your professional stuff. I'm not saying it's got to be, just boring science. It's got to be just like, I don't care that you had a beautiful morning. Like on LinkedIn, put that crap on Facebook. I mean, I don't think
you won't care, but you won't follow it there.
Exactly.
Well, let me ask, hold on. Ernie's been posting a lot of pictures on Facebook about his trip to Mexico and all the food and all the food he ate there. Are you posting that on LinkedIn as well, Ernie?
No.
Would you?
No, I wouldn't, because it's to me, it's LinkedIn's professional. Facebook is kind of divvied up between the recruiters and my friends. And that's what the part I post on is not on a group, a recruiter group. It's just my friends that I've connected with. But you'll also notice one other thing. I don't put pictures of myself within that group. I mean, within the pictures, they're all pictures of.
No, I saw you sitting there. Last week I remarked that you weren't wearing your purple shirt. You're wearing, I was shocked. Okay.
I gotta fix that. I gotta figure out how to fix it.
Okay.
This is a black shirt.
Here's another question.
Actually, Animal, I've got one little thing that I just want to share with you guys also, which I thought was hilarious. I got it the other way around because a lot of people are now posting professional stuff on Facebook. And I started doing that in January and I got told off. And yet, if you look at my threads, I would say 85% of what I'm reading there is professional on Facebook.
Depends who you follow.
Well, people like you.
Yeah,
I posted. In the group I post just professional stuff, but in my personal I post news. That's why I actually don't accept any friends, because I don't need people trying to claw the skin off me because they don't like the article I posted. Which I've had the experience. Okay, here's the thing: recruiters are always complaining that candidates don't show up or Yeah, no, okay. Oh, no. This is it. Yeah, Rich was saying, how many people have told me that someone in their family dies? Didn't you say, okay, I'm quoting you. Didn't you say that? I've heard the guy's grandmother died 10 times. So, because that's
Absolutely.
why he didn't make it to an interview or something.
Oh, yeah.
What if the husband calls you the day of the interview and says, my wife's not going to make it because she died?
Well, then I would never call her again. I mean, listen, it happens, but I mean, we've all done this for long enough where you have, you know, I don't know about you guys. I take really good notes. Someone tells me something today, it's going to be in there forever. All right. I take everything they say down. You know, when they tell you the same lame ass excuse, or even just doesn't matter. You missed an interview. You missed an interview. Jerry, you know, had it right when he's like, listen, rescheduling interviews ends up, you know, 99% of the time ends up nowhere. So I've been tracking that. Even I had a guy you know, I've known forever. He missed the first. He had to reschedule the first interview. It's sales guy, so there's a small amount of leeway you give him because deals do come up, things come up with clients. But this guy went all the way through the process, and you know, got the offer. And you know, granted, the company kind of screwed up with the offer, but he turned it down. You know, it just point being is those who really want to get stuff done, get it done. You know. If this guy really wanted the offer, he would have been a little bit more active, and that was part of the problem. So, you know.
Okay.
So
What about you? Mario wants to say something. Go ahead.
Ernie, please go ahead. I'll ask him after Ernie asks.
No, I was just gonna say, so basically, whatever is said and however it's said, you just get a feel that it doesn't feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, then you know something's gonna happen. And that's usually, it's just from experience.
There's 2 of the 10 recruiting rules right there. The Rich Rosen rule. If oh no, the Rich is the client rule. Sorry, yeah.
It all works
no,
the same,
no, that's the Jerry rule. He quoted the Jerry rule. If they reschedule, it's not going to happen. And Ernie said, if it doesn't feel right, something's wrong. Okay, that's go with your gut. Okay, that's the other Amy number 2 rule. Mario, go ahead.
Rich, I want to ask you a question. What happens when you move ATSs? If your notes are so precise.
But if I move what? I move ATSs?
Yeah,
bring
so
them
you
with
don't ship it.
Yeah, they can.
So you have notes dating back to 10 years back, I guess.
I have notes dating back to the 90s. So, so yeah, I mean,
That's nice.
yeah.
You were using
Well, that's the way to
online
do it.
ATS?
You cannot remember everything.
I was using I was using ACT. I was the first person.
Oh, ACT, yeah.
Boston. I mean, I was literally the first person out of 77 recruiters in Boston and MRI to have a computer.
Do you still have ACT?
What?
Do you still have ACT?
No, that was like 20 years ago.
I didn't even know if it existed. I used to use it a lot.
Yeah, it was great in its day. It was dynamite.
Yeah, it was.
So,
Gavin, what's your take on, as a professional trainer, on the Jerry rule that if the candidate reschedules, it's over for the interview?
I always give people one chance, but once there's something like that, and as Ernie was saying, you know, follow your gut. If you feel that it's not right, just be wary and start preparing plan, not just B, but C and D.
yeah. People get happy years in this business on every side of the desk, no matter what you're doing, and they really shouldn't. Hence, if your candidate's a little flaky, it's not going to work. If the client's a little flaky or a pain in the ass, it's not going to work. You know, it's very simple.
All right, I have a question. I think could it also be culturally based?
What do you
What
mean?
was that?
Culturally based. For example, I'll give you a scenario. Why I'm not in the Indian market is this market is full of so many flaky cases. Okay. I mean,
But it doesn't matter. The result's the same though. It doesn't matter. The result's the same. If they skip, they miss, you know, because they have something better to do, it just means it's not that important to them. I mean, it's like, you know, I don't know if you have kids or not, but your kids, they're going to get stuff done that they want to get done. It's that simple. And that goes for everything in life. Those who want to do, those who don't. It's very simple.
Okay, anybody else on that? No? Okay, Gavin, I was interested in that. We were talking about all this relationship building, and when I introduced you, I said what seemed to me quite novel is that survey's not really the right word I'm going for. You enumerate, or you do a census essentially on everybody. I want to know how you do that. How do you do that analysis of who your potential candidates are, and then how do you initiate these buddy relationships with them? Can you tell us that? Or I'm warning, okay, I didn't want this guy to come on the show because he's a trainer. I don't want to soak him for all kinds of information that he charges for. Okay, so use your discretion. You don't have to tell us everything. Okay, you don't have to spill your guts.
Let's soak him. Let's soak him.
Some teasers.
Very easy, and it's one thing for me to say what the approach is, and a different thing to say to train the whole full cycle. I mean, the approach is very simple: is candidate first in a small niche. You map 100% of candidates. How
do you do that? How do you map them? How do you do that? The niche, the niche has
first
to be so small. How many people? How many people are we talking about?
Right now, I've got 217 candidates.
Oh, so your niche is that small?
Yeah.
What's your niche?
It's Oracle e-business suite and Oracle Cloud freelance experts to speak French and got a work permit for Europe.
Wow, that is niche.
That's very tough.
Niche.
Yeah,
there's 11 roles in there. And now it's down to 217. Now, I only work part-time as a recruiter now because I've got to combine both things. But back in the day when I was working full-time and doing my, about 50 hours a week or whatever it was, then I took it a bit broader than that. So there's not only the French speakers, and I had about 600 candidates.
Okay, and you knew every one of them personally?
Well, let's put it this way. I spoke to most of them several times over the years. Yeah, I didn't know them all to the level of wow, but some of them, the core group of maybe 200-300 people, I knew what situation they could work well, where they couldn't work, and all those things.
Hold on. Okay, 200 people. Well, yeah. I have a question, quick one. Hold on. 200 people, you could call them up. This is what I read your stuff a lot of the time. I had the feeling when you're talking about your relationships, you could call them up and say, how's your dog doing? I remember you was taking him to the vet last time. Okay. Is that kind of relationship?
Yeah.
Really? Of 200 people or more?
But I mean, I think, if you've been doing this for a while, you build that rapport with a lot of people. I mean, I have no idea how many people I know that well, but I'm guessing hundreds and hundreds, I mean, it just gets to being a good recruiter, and you build relationships and rapport. Even if you don't place the people, you get to know who they are, what they are, their vacations, and what's going on in their world. You mark down their age of their kids, their birthdays, if you know it. I mean, all that simple stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just good business.
And you also find that a lot of times they know more about their relationship with you than you remember.
Oh yeah.
Yes, which is sometimes very spooky.
Yeah, I mean, you're like saying, hi, this is Ernie. Hey Ernie, how you doing, man? What's going on? I haven't talked to you in a long time, and you have no idea that you talked to them, or you don't remember talking to them.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I have a question.
I have a question for Rich. Sorry, I can't let this go by. Okay. I write down their kids' birthdays.
Yeah.
If someone comes to me, and talks about people in my family, their birthdays.
Why?
Don't suck up to me. I know. What do you give a?
Listen. The whole point of doing it is like where they go to college, when they go to college, what they're doing.
It's so transparently phony.
It depends how you do it. I don't send an email saying, "Hey, happy birthday to little Timmy." But if it's conversation, it's like like it's my anniversary today, so I know like other clients whose kids or their birthdays, their anniversaries, or whatever. It just. You bring it up in conversation. I don't send cheesy emails out that say.
Well, hold on. I just want to say, everybody who on the regulars on the show who want to suck up to Rich, go to your calendar right now. It's his anniversary. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, and congrats, Rich.
But thank you.
How many years?
But what?
How many years?
20 years.
Congratulations.
Oh,
yeah, you
nice.
deserve congratulations.
Yeah.
I wish there was a song.
Is that with the same woman?
Yeah.
Had to ask.
Hold on. So does everybody agree that it's good to talk to them about their kids? What interest does Rich really have about their kids?
Conversation.
This is what, Animal, you're like talking to my wife. You get these extremes. It's not like you say, hey, Animal, when's your kid's birthday? It's just stuff that comes up in conversation. Like why they're, hey, what are you doing today? What's going on? Oh, it's my kid's birthday. I gotta run out.
As you do a phone screen.
Yeah.
How long have you been married?
Seriously, I need
what are your salary expectations? What are your teaching?
Animal, much more to the point. Let me give you an example. I've placed this guy about 4 years ago. And I'd never met him face to face, but I remembered something that he'd said to me many years ago, around 2009. So this is a French guy, and his dream was to move to Canada and work there. And when I hadn't spoken to him for about 3 years, and 4 years ago, I speak to him and I say, yeah, I know that your ideal job is in Canada, but can I talk to you about something in France? And he goes, yeah, okay, go ahead. So in any case, long story short, I place him. I meet him in March of this year for the first time. And we're talking over some beers, and he says, you know, you're the only guy that would have remembered that I was interested in going to Canada. And that impacts everything about the relationship, just from remembering that one simple thing.
Maybe,
Gavin, I have
maybe
a
not.
question
But
before
hold
you
on a
jump.
second. No, Mario, 1 sec. There's a difference between remembering where the guy wants to work and what his kid's birthday is, okay? Come on,
all
Mario.
It's the principle of
Okay,
it, Animal.
okay.
The principle of it. It's the
Mario.
Rich, I love your point, okay? Okay, by the wife part, that was hilarious. All
Yeah.
right. Gavin, I have a question, okay? How do you pick your niche?
Right.
Because
Yeah,
do you
that's
fall into
a
it?
great question.
Wait, I have a quick question that kind of dovetails. I'm just curious, with such a small niche, how many deals a year do you do with only 600 people, 200 people in the space? It's a tiny.
600.
Don't forget that I place freelancers. So I
Gotcha.
can place somebody sometimes 2 or 3 times in a year. But
Gotcha,
typically,
gotcha.
I mean, when I was working full time, I was placing somewhere in between 35 and 40 people a year.
That's $1 million.
Rich,
And
he's a
that's
$1 million
enough to
man.
do
If I remember
$1.2
correctly,
million back in the day.
if I remember correctly, he's a $1
Did you
million
place
man.
65?
Okay.
Yeah, last year he did 65 hires, okay, Rich?
What?
If I remember, you did 65 hires, right, last
I
year?
did last year. I did.
Right.
Yeah. This year is cranking as well. I should do the same or
Okay.
more.
So no, Mario asked that question. I was very impressed by your description of your niche. You know, it's a certain special technology with only people who are bilingual or speak certain languages. That's incredible. So Mario wants to know how you came up with that. And I wondered about it too.
I didn't choose it. That's when I started working in recruitment. That was what the agency did. The whole agency did only Oracle e-business
Okay,
speak
it was
people
an
in
EBS
Europe,
agency.
only freelancers.
All right.
And so I inherited. They said to me, you speak French, you do France. So I did France. And that's how I got into that. And I never went away from that niche.
So what would you advise to pick for someone to pick their niche? There was a conversation last time, sure, I was watching that actually.
I'm gonna tell you a very quick story of one of my students, which I thought was hilarious. He said to me, he said, look, I'm hesitating between these 2 niches. What do you recommend? Number 1 niche on LinkedIn, there are 17,000 open vacancies. Number 2 niche, there are 22,000 open vacancies. And I go, over what geographical area? He says, the United States. I go, okay, take Manhattan, because he was from New York, take Manhattan and that's your niche. And he looked at me going, what? I go, how many deals are you going to make a month, do you think? And he goes, I don't know. And I say, you're going to do 3 or 4 deals a month maximum. How many candidates do you need for that? How many requirements do you need to work on to get to those 3 or 4 deals? And suddenly you realize you actually only need a very small number to get those 3 or 4 deals a month. And so you extrapolate backwards, and that's the size of your niche. And most of the time it's very, 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 very small. People like to spread because they're reassured by numbers. But the reality is you do not need that to be a $1 million biller.
Do you have a follow-up, Mario? Because I have follow-up questions, okay? I wanted to know, if I remember correctly, you said in one of your articles that before you even start looking for clients, you talk to everybody in your niche, all of the potential placements, so that you can go straight to them once you get a job. Am I right about that, or am I remembering it incorrectly?
Yeah, I mean, not 100%, because you can't know your whole niche when you start off, but you can within just.
Well, if it's only 200 or 300 people, yes, you can. Yeah,
That's a week's worth of phone
but
calls.
you get to know them, of course. So I would say within the first 4 or 5 weeks, you get to know maybe 40-50% of your niche. And then you definitely go candidate first. For me, the last people in the whole recruitment process are clients.
okay. Nobody else. So now we come back to this thing about the dogs and the birthdays and stuff like that. How do you initiate, since you're not marketing a job, how do you initiate your relationship with these clients? Is this an okay question? I told you, you can say, I don't want to answer this. I'll plead the fifth. Okay. So, but how do you initiate? How do you initiate your relationship with these people? You don't have any jobs to talk to them about, and you want to become sort of buddy with them, it sounds like, or have a good rapport. What do you do?
Treat them like humans. Don't think of them as specifically candidates. Just try and build a rapport. Now, for me, the first thing that I had to do was when I first started, my first 2 weeks, I had long lists of names and telephone numbers, and I had to call them and get an up-to-date version of their CV, resume in North America.
Yeah, we understand. Okay, thank you.
Well, there was a whole debate in one of the groups. I thought, oh, come on, it's the same bloody thing.
We're not stupid on this show, okay?
But yeah, so you start doing that. You get their updated CV. 50% do not send you their updated CV. So bang, you're straight onto conversation number 2. And then, of course, each time you sort of say, oh, and by the way, who else is available and what you've been talking to, who you've been talking to and what's going on in the market. And suddenly you're gone and you're just, it just grows and grows and grows.
I mean, you're actually like a real recruiter. I mean, Animal, this is recruiting.
You know what frightens me, Rich, is I don't think a large percentage of people work that way.
I agree. I fully agree. Like I totally understand why most people think recruiters are idiots and hate recruiters. Because I see the ones that call and want to do splits and stuff, which I love to do. But I mean, you know, they sent you guys that painted your house instead of guys that, you know, did software. I mean, like, and then they bug you. Why didn't you call the guy? Why haven't you given me feedback? You know,
I got a feeling Ernie wants to say something, but I'm burning here. Okay, but go ahead, Ernie. Go ahead.
Say 2 things that come out that you got to have. You got to have confidence, number 1. And you got to listen. And what Gavin is saying is that I'm having a conversation, I'm asking some questions, and same thing Rich is saying is that, but at the same time they're listening, and it's that 1 or 2 little keywords that's going on, or the tone of what they're saying and how they're saying it, you know, and that's when you start to develop what's going on really in their life. I mean, I had a guy yesterday that just resigned from a job, and as we talked, he just said, well, I got to go back to my home state. And I said, what's up? He goes, he says, well, I just got to be near my kids. I go, are you going through a divorce? And he goes, yeah. You know, but you got to listen for those little things. And
that wasn't so little, Ernie. I'm sorry. I know you're a smart guy, but it didn't take any extra sensory perception to pick that one up. I thought his parents were sick or something like that.
No, but I mean, the little things are how they're saying it, what's the tone that they're saying, what's their attitude, and you're listening for that, and then you can offer your sympathy and all this stuff and say, let me help you out, let me do whatever I can. Okay. And then that's where the relationship starts.
I'll come back to you, Ernie. You derailed my direction. Okay.
Well, you know what? I think the group appreciates that, though.
Well, you know, last week they did, and lots of people, Gavin and Mario, said they enjoyed what you said. I let you talk last week, and I enjoyed it as well. But I hot to trot today. I want to know.
Go for it.
He says, listen. He says, I get in touch with them, and half of them don't send their resumes. This is a guy who's successful. He didn't tell us how he gets in touch with them, although earlier in the show he said pick up the phone. So I'm assuming he phones them out of the blue and then starts pumping them for information. That they're going to just tell you, who do you know? Well, tell us exactly. You phone them out of the blue, cold call these people, right? And what do you say to them? What do you say to them? Hi, I'm new in the business. I want to establish a relationship with you. What do you say?
If it's the first contact, the first thing I'm going to say is very, very simple. Hi, my name's Gavin Johnston. I'm calling from whatever company, and I have an old version of your CV, if that's the case, if I'm updating my ATS, or I've seen you on LinkedIn, I've been following you, or you've been referred to me by such and such, whatever it is. It depends on the situation, why I want to talk to them. If I've got a link in there, It doesn't make much difference, to be fair.
Sure it does. If you've
No, it
already got a
doesn't. I agree
resume,
with
that's
Gavin.
way different. Sorry,
No,
Rich.
I could fully agree with Gavin. It's all how you say it and what you say. And it's just to get him to get that first no out of the way. And now I'm not interested. Well, listen, who do you know? And then you go through a pitch anyway, or you just get touched. Well,
No, you know what? I guess you geniuses can just say, who do you know? And we can fill in
No, wait,
exactly
hold on.
how to
Animal,
get to
hold on,
that.
hold on.
That's exactly
Animal,
how you do it.
hold on. Animal, listen. Rich, just imagine, okay, you're calling a software engineer and he says, my interested, and you ask him, who do you know? No one, cuss one. That's it.
Yeah.
Actually, Mario, nowadays I don't do any developers anymore because everything's in the cloud. But for many years, I had quite a few developers and DBAs I had to recruit.
Gavin, I don't disagree with you. See, the timeline has changed, okay? The way these developers respond at times, believe me, I'm working on a front-end developer right now, okay? And I also recruit all the time, though I run a small team. But the way their behavior patterns have changed from pre-COVID to post-COVID, right? It's hilarious. Those days when you call them and ask them, hey, what's happening? And you talk, they'll talk a bit. Now they're like so crisp, I mean, so good. Yeah, anyway,
Actually, my niche, they're
so
desperate to talk to recruiters because they're not needed anymore because of the cloud. And so they want to talk to recruiters because they're desperate for work.
And my question, one more question to follow up with. So you work on freelance base, that means they work on contracts, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's imagine that you don't have their resume, which is, I don't know how Rich could walk and say, oh, it doesn't make any difference. It sure does.
It doesn't.
That's like a referral. That's like a referral. You sent me your resume in the past. I'm just renewing my relationship with you. You know me already. I'm half trusted. I'm a trusted.
Oh, relax. Whether you say, when you saw the guy, hey, listen, I saw your LinkedIn profile. I've got an old resume. It's the same bullshit either way. And he just said,
okay, so no, LinkedIn is different.
Hold on.
Hang on. So regardless, if you're calling in, like I call in with a job usually, and hey, I've got this opportunity I thought you may be interested in. You know, Gavin's just calling in to reactivate people, which is a great way to start. Like,
or active. See, I'm not. That's it. Is a difference between reactivating and activating. I'm interested in activating.
There is absolutely no difference. There's zero difference. Because when you reactivate or activate,
okay, Animal, let me give you another example. I mean, I know our market inside out, and suddenly there was this guy who had been a permie and he went freelance, right? And so I had to know him, obviously. And I got in touch with the guy and I say, hi, my name is Gavin Johnston. You probably haven't heard about me, but I place freelance Oracle specialists like yourself. I see on LinkedIn that you've worked that place. We've got 43 people in common, and I would love to be able to exchange with you. And he goes, oh, I know who you are. Which is like, okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't come in with, maybe you knew who I am. Oh, go ahead, Ernie.
When he says, I know who you are, how do you respond?
Great. And then you move on.
Actually,
what I'll probably do is I'll ask how, because then it's interesting, because then you start making links. Who knows who? Because one of the things that I analyze also is who's worked with whom where, who gets on, because you've always got groups, and that will help you later to be able to make placements much easier. Because, for example, one of the tricks is if there's a site where there's a project where they need to hire people, always check who's already there. And then go to them and say, I understand you get started there. Who else is interesting? Who else would you like to work with on this project? And then you go and get these people and you feed them into the hiring manager. What does the hiring manager do? They typically go to the freelancer because the freelancer is the expert, right? He needs advice on the technology in any case. Bam. Placements are much easier that way.
You know, one of the things you say basically is, do your homework, do some work. And I find a lot of recruiters don't do anything. They don't do the background. They don't do anything. They just make calls. And then they send them off to Rich and say, why didn't you call them back? Because they're stupid. I got an example of stupidity today. I connected with some kid that was a recruiter, and he says, thank you for connecting with me. I have an amazing opportunity that you may be interested in. May I share your further information? May I share with you further information? My response was no.
I don't know if I would have bothered even saying that.
But I mean, it's like what's happening now is everyone knows that if they connect with you, they expect you to be selling them something. And when that comes on and you do that stupidity, then it's most likely, I would say,
Well, the
80%
thing
might
is,
get away from you.
he didn't know enough about you because you work for yourself. Okay, he could have said, "Look, I see you got your own business, but I've got a very senior role in house that you still might be interested in, and it'll be personalized." You might have talked to him. But here's my point. Before the show's over, I want to make it. So what I'm hearing is, first you call somebody up who's never spoken to you before, and you say, "Hi, I work in your field. I want to know something about you." And then you start asking who else they know. You ask for referrals. I think you'd be much
No, first
you have a much better chance.
Animal. First,
You'd have a better chance of getting the kid's birthday. Yeah, dude, you'd have a better chance
how
of
many
getting
times
his
has your
kid's
mother died?
birthday.
The kid's birthday. Then you
And all you guys do a divorce.
Then you find out about that.
Okay, but Rich, you didn't say it, but you don't agree with Gavin's approach. Okay, you imply it. Oh, I go in with a job. Okay, you said, but that implies no, I would never just go in and do what Danny Cahill calls institutional calls.
Hang on. Never use never and always in this business. There's never and always.
I'm a never and always guy. Okay,
that's your mistake, right?
You said extremist.
I generally call in with a job because I generally have jobs to work on. But if I see someone I don't know, I get referred to him or whatever else, I'll call the guy just because he's got a great background, and you want to keep him on the bench for an opportunity, or you want to use him as an NPC for future. And just tell him up front, listen, I don't have anything for you right now, but the background looked great. I want to get to know who you are. And never hurts to have a good recruiter in your back pocket.
Gavin, is that okay? That pitch?
I need your approval,
There
Gavin.
are many ways of doing this business. There are, I don't say there are any wrong ones, maybe ethically, but as such, you can still make placements. But then it's a question of how productive you are. If you got somebody like Rich, who is making $1.2 million a year, or maybe more in the last one now, after all the results that you
More than all of us together.
But and the fact of the matter is that if you've got something like Rich making that kind of money, then obviously he's doing it right. Yeah. What I find is that a lot of people are bringing in 80,000, 100,000, 150,000, and not willing to look at how they're working and analyze what they're doing to do it better. And a lot of the time, they're not treating candidates well. They don't have the right methodology. They're frightened of going into clients.
Yeah, I mean, the short version is people don't look at the clients. They don't look at candidates as the clients of tomorrow. They're just worrying about today. They're just saying, hey, this is the guy who's paying me today. That's the only person I need to care about, which is a really dumb way to do this business, because your candidate is going to pay you next year or the year after when they get promoted up. So you got to treat them like gold. You treat them almost better than the clients in some respects. So it's all about reputation. And that's, if you don't care about your reputation in this business, you're not going to last long. You're never going to make a lot of money, and you're just going to spin your wheels.
Yep.
I feel bad that I screwed up the beginning of the show with those tech problems. I might cut that out. Although I like some of those questions I asked. What was the one about the dog? Yeah, I like that one. Ernie, if your candidate, did I ask you that? You weren't here. If your candidate says, I want to take my dog to the interview, I keep him at the office with me all the time, would you say okay?
No, you don't. What the hell's wrong with you? Something's wrong here. What the hell's wrong?
Better. You bring your dog to a food interview.
I had a candidate who interviewed on the drive-through line eating a hamburger, and he says, well, I don't know how I got it. He goes, I got all the skills. I go, shit, because you were eating
but
a
Rich
hamburger.
said you shouldn't send them the guys who paint your house.
It's just like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? And then later on, after I told him, you can't be doing that shit. And he says, hey, I got a job. Thank you for that advice.
Rich, I have a question. When you talk about the splits, has someone really sent you a guy who's a painter for a sales role?
Oh yeah, I mean, some of the crap that I get from other recruiters, it just mesmerizes me.
So they just send you a resume. They don't even send notes.
Yeah, they just send a resume, which I don't even care. I mean, if they got notes, great. I mean, because I'm going to screen them anyway. So, but you know, I love when they can send a couple of bullet points about what they've talked
Yeah,
about.
I mean, that's a standard. And Ivan has seen my system because when I was using his ATS for some time, he saw our notes set. Okay, and I was just, I still can't believe people don't make notes when they send it over, even to a split.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like some recruiters I know, and we know each other's style and stuff.
That's different. Those are personal.
But if it's someone that's a new split partner, you know, you can send a couple of notes, you know. But I mean, unfortunately, you know, 90% of the recruiters that send me folks are just so off the mark. It's.
I think you should have a hiring agency for that.
Hold on. Do you find that the people who are sending you people that are not even close to what you need, that they're kind of looking to be trained? They have no problem. They have no experience in their niche.
They might. I have no idea, but I mean, I'm not going to train them for free. And
yeah, no. I mean, I found that when I did splits, which I really stopped doing, I found that people were saying, "Oh, I'm opening up a food industry." I don't want to deal with you. You know, get away.
I don't. If they're good and they show effort, I'll help anyone. I mean, like I did $300,000 worth of splits last year.
Well, I won't help anybody if they belong to an organization. If they're a solo recruiter, that's a different story. But if they belong to an organization, get some training within your group. Talk to your boss.
Yeah, for the most part, I would fully agree.
How did you do those splits? Through an association like the NPA?
No, just through people calling me. You know, I started like a software split group on Facebook, and I'll post stuff in there.
Is it for software sales alone?
We'll say again.
Is it for software sales alone, or does it involve anything else?
I just do software. I do sales reps, sales engineers, and sales execs, and some VPs of marketing.
Okay, so that group is only for that specifically.
Yeah. So
I mean, I ain't getting it. Shit.
Gavin, anything else you want to talk about towards the end of the show? Your first appearance on the Recruiting Animal Show?
There's so many topics to talk about.
Okay. Well, leave it to me. You say animal. No, I'll put it in your hands for you to guide me. No one ever says that. You're such a pro. Bad. Yeah. You know what? I would have liked it if to be. Hold on, forget about it. Okay.
Finish your thought, animal.
Well, hold on. I have a question. Someone asked a question today on one of the groups. I didn't hear what you said. Okay, they asked a question, and it never occurred to me. And I've worked on lots of retained searches, but this person said, "Is there a target date on a retained search?" None of the searches I've worked on that retained ever had a target date, but they wanted to say that if we don't supply a placement by a certain date, it's canceled. You don't have to pay the rest of the fee. Like there's 1/3.
That's more of an engagement. It's more of an engagement fee. That's not a real retainer.
Yeah. Gavin, do you do retained or are you contingent? Gavin, are you contingent?
I do.
Oh, you're contract guys.
Moral retained, or moral exclusivity, should I say?
What does that mean?
There's no money up front because it's freelancers, so you get paid at the end of the month, right? On the amount of days that they work.
He does like 10.
What's a freelancer? Is that like Jerry to place?
It's a contractor.
Contract. Okay. And so you negotiate an hourly rate for these guys? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Jerry said that's the way to go. That's the best way to make money. Do you agree with him about that? You've got a lot of passive income.
It's got two advantages. The first one is that you've definitely got potentially a year's worth of revenue just for one placement. The second advantage is if you've got an agency and you want to sell it, it hugely increases the value of your agency. The disadvantage is that negotiation-wise, it's much heavier. Oh, and you need the cash flow in the beginning, especially.
Okay, yeah. Lots of people, you get a factor to back you up. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, in Europe we try and avoid that. It's just too expensive. And I mean in North America, and I don't know how it's like in Canada, in the US, for example, a lot of the solutions that there are out there are the contractor is actually employed by a factoring company or a management company, whereas in Europe they've got their own company. So it's a business to business relationship.
Okay. You see, I've got a lot of good questions here, but we don't have any time left. We've got 4 minutes. It's going to take too long. Let me do the ad for Klang, if he's still here. Ivan, are you still with us? Drinking in the wisdom?
Why are you doing the ad?
This was very interesting.
You got to
very
be
nice.
an ad. You gotta
Okay.
earn it.
Ivan, he's eating his lunch. He's cleaning his house. He doesn't like to show his face anymore, but he is a reputable person. He's an IT recruiter in Switzerland, and he's got so much time on his hands, or he's just a genius. He created his own applicant tracking system as well. It's called Klang.so, KLANG.SO, and the social media function that Mario uses, that's free, right? That's free.
It is free as well as you have a paid version.
Okay.
We use the paid version. Okay.
Oh, you do? Oh,
Yeah,
there you
of course.
go. There you go. I didn't know
Solid,
that.
it's a solid product,
Yes.
man. I love
Okay.
it. My
Thank
whole-
you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Anytime, man.
Then we got Super Rich Rosen, cornerstonesearch.com.
Level
He's the
number
number 11 best recruiter in America. Okay. And that's Solo Recruiter, the top solo recruiter on the Forbes list. MarioTheRecruiter.com, Wave. Ernie, foodindustryrecruiter.com, a fount of wisdom. I'm sorry I didn't give him as much chance. I just was burning up with questions for our new friend, Gavin Johnston, at everythingaboutrecruitment.com. Did I remember it?
That's
Hey,
it.
look how important it is to have a good domain name. Gavin, thanks very much, everybody. Bye-bye. Let me see.
Thank
Go.
you
Now I have to
all.
find the off button. Okay. See ya.